For you, I certainly hope. Today is the 30th day of March 2020, and this is a beer with the Old Growler. And that's who you run into here. Yes, the Old Growler. And so I'm going to begin. It's a little early. It's 4:59, although some of my other electronic devices tell me that it is 5 o'clock, which means it's time for beer. Time for a beer, yes, sir. And as you can see, in setting up the broadcast, we had to start with a beer. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, the first sip won't kill you, will it? No, a bunch of them will. Howdy, folks. Glad you're here. Welcome to Monday, the 30th of March. 2020, beer with the Old Growler. I'm sitting here contemplating it. I just had a little bit. This was one of the sample beers that was sent to me a little while ago. I haven't cracked open the Growler yet. No, I haven't cracked open the Growler for today yet. I did stop over to see Jerry and the kids at the Henry Street Ale House, where I'll be picking up a Growler a day for the next month, according to the word. Oh, that's good. I tell you. Well, anyways, it's always interesting to stop and take a little minute to think about what you're doing. Right about now, as you can see, on a Belgian lace, you're supposed to have layers of lace. That's why they call it Belgian. And Belgian because the people that noticed it thought that it was very much like the very delicate lace that was the tradition in Belgium. So the trick is to each time you sip, there's supposed to be a little bit of just like this foam here that you see, and there's supposed to be little layers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they come together, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Well, see, Belgian lace. I apparently was at the loom once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. I don't even think you could call that Belgian knitting, but there it is. Anyways, it's good to have you with me. It's a little bit dreary out there today, although you can't tell by the lighting in here. I've got apparently a relatively good camera there. It captures all the light, and I haven't figured out how to adjust it to make things look prettier. But over the next month, I'm sure you're going to see a difference. All right. Well, at least I got a couple of you folks watching, and it's Mary. Seems like there's internet issues. It keeps freezing. I noticed that myself. You just stay with it, Mary. I noticed Monica. Yes, exactly. I think we're all the internet is as they say in French, a petit retard. Yes, but stay with me. I'm not going anywhere. At least not for the next half hour or so. I was all set to do a little treatise, especially since the Growler that I've got here, and again, this isn't from the kids at Tributary. What's inside isn't from Tributary. It's a Reisdorf Kolsch, a Growler of Reisdorf Kolsch from Germany. And I was going to bring over my mug from Oktoberfest of 1988 and regale you all with German beer stories, but I got lazy and I didn't I didn't clean out the mug. Tomorrow creeps at its petty pace. Anyways, I'm going to crack this open. I've already cracked it open, but I'm going to pour this. Geez, I wish I was in the old Wild West where you sling it over your shoulder what it was like they did. Anyways, kids, here we go. The first beer from the growler. Oh, that's not a bad pour, huh? No applause, just throw money. Anyways, there we go. And we're still live, and 5:18 into the broadcast, or streamcast, I guess they would call it. Okay. For those of you who are with me drinking the beers and the good stuff, welcome back. I can see some folks are flickering in and out, and I understand that might be web problems. So I'll stay with this. I'll talk about Kolsch, or beer and food. There was a smidge left over last night to go with the pot roast. We've reinstituted doing Sunday dinners, and that way we have some leftovers for Monday, etc. And I did use wine in the pot roast, but I had some of the Kolsch left over, nice and refreshing, and the richness of the chuck that I got from my favorite butcher was okay. We're down to one. But also, that's quite all right. Anyways, the butcher. It was a great piece of meat to start with, and I couldn't tell you what it cost, because I'm one of those people that just doesn't look on the right hand side of the menu. I've been lucky enough not to have to anyway, which is bragging. I know that, but in any event, I was talking about Kolsch and being in Germany back in 1988, and I was going to present it in a mug from Oktoberfest back then, but it of course occurs to me now as I talk to you about it that Kolsch would not be a beer that would be drunk at Oktoberfest. So I'll have to go to the back of the fridge, and I was going through the stock of beers that I've collected over the last couple of years, and boy, we've got some that are very ancient, and I'm talking about going back a few years. So over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be, you'll be watching me drink, hopefully watching me drink a bunch of old beers as well as young beers, and talking about where they came from and exactly what makes them interesting, but what makes the area interesting, what makes the study of beer interesting. I've often thought about, as I observe my glass of beer, that what it is that just a glass of beer, yes, absolutely. However, it's also an awful lot of history and a little bit of science and an awful lot of culinary information and a whole textbook of sociology. And it's right here in a beer. The study of beer and how it goes back into history, where it came from, the fact that civilization came about, and beer and bread pretty much came about at the same time. Of different style than what we've got here, that's for sure. But that's what, when people say that I have a niche, and beer with the Old Growler is very much of a niche. Well, not in particular. We can stretch our wings. To say that it's a niche is similar along to the lines of someone saying, well, I'm a medical writer, or I'm a beer writer, or I'm a food writer. No. You are a writer first. That's the important thing. if you have to lean on a name or a niche, well, perhaps you should reevaluate what you are. But you're first and foremost a writer, a communicator, and that's the key. Then you say, well, who understands these different things? Who's able to look at something and see not just through the lens of their specialty, but to see other parts of the facet of what it is. And I had a chance to actually physically experience that. A buddy of mine, John Stasak, is a Soho artist, fantastic fellow, fantastic artist. And every once in a while, he takes me a tour of some of the galleries in Chelsea. And I saw one exhibit that was immense, and I'm talking huge. There was a prism hanging from the ceiling, and the prism, I'm 6 foot tall, so it had to have been at least 30 feet, maybe more. And there were 2 or 3 of them, and as you walked around, you could see what was on the walls and what were objects that were in between through these prisms. And no matter where you were, it was always an absolutely unique way of seeing it. And as you moved, it changed. So perception is an incredible thing. So when I look at a glass of beer like this, I see an awful lot of stuff. I've been pontificating for a while. We've gotten 10 minutes into this. Let's see, as if anybody has if Mary or Monica are still here, or if the rest of whoever is still here, just say hello. There's a place down right there on the bottom part of the screen. It says, it probably has your name if you're watching, and it says say something, and then it has a smiley face, and that's where you write stuff. So I'd appreciate if somebody would check in, at least so that I'd know that the 2 people, I see two faces there. That's what I see. Would just say hi. I'd appreciate that. I wouldn't want to be talking to this here computer all by myself, but it's, although I noticed there's somebody there. Okay. Oh. I believe over the last few days, I've talked about Kolsch and the fact that it is a nice, full-bodied beer. And as I sit here, I'm surprised that it went so well with the very unctuous pot roast last night. But it shows that, wow, that pot roast must have been really rich. Okay. Well, let's see. I had a few notes here. And a couple of beers to taste. It seemed a shame to crack them open before enough folks stopped into the bar here. Well, not that it is an actual bar, but for those of you who have lasted 13 minutes and 26 seconds, you see the reason that I'm putting this out, and hopefully you've lasted this long to watch, and I have no idea why you would, but it's because I've spent, I'm working on a book called My Life as a Professional Barfly, 40 years of covering the beer industry. And so I'm working at a real disadvantage because it's very tough to get to bars, you see, here in Brooklyn, USA, New York. So I figured that the least I could do was offer you folks a chance to visit with me and have a beer. I've put out notices on YouTube, on Facebook, on oh geez, I haven't tried LinkedIn yet.